Lucia, you're currently in Chile, where the situation just seems to be getting worse, even as the government there is imposing stricter measures.
Yes, that's right. In fact, this morning it was announced that more than 6,000 new infections had been confirmed. The death toll continues to be extremely high. And the government the president has sent a bill to Congress on fast track asking them to impose penalties of up to 5 years in prison for anybody who violates the quarantine. And now people are only going to be allowed to go out twice a week rather than 5 times a week to do shopping or any other essential businesses that they will have to do. And the problem with this is that the opposition is very unlikely to approve this bill for many reasons. First, the prisons are absolutely overcrowded. The government had, in fact, allowed a lot of prisoners to leave if they were not convicted for dangerous crimes, so that they could finish their sentences at home to avoid infections in the prisons. Secondly, less than 1% of the people who or rather, the police have found that less than 1% of people are actually violating the curfew and the quarantine, and that the rest have permission. And what does this mean? It means that the government has not really cracked down on the main source of the overcrowding on the streets, which is the number of people that are going to work. There are many, many businesses that have permission to have staff because they claim to be essential services when they are not. And this seems to be a veiled way by the government to allow the economy to keep moving and to reduce unemployment. But that is certainly not helping the sanitary situation in the country.
Lucia Newman there for us in the Chilean capital, Santiago. Thank you very much, Lucia. Well, authorities in Beijing say the recent coronavirus outbreak there, which forced parts of the city to impose a lockdown this week, is now under control. More than 180 new infections have been confirmed just since Monday, and hundreds of thousands of residents and workers have been tested. Katrina Yu reports from the capital.
This time last year, long queues were a common sight outside Beijing sporting or entertainment venues. But this week, thousands have been queuing to be tested for COVID-19. Many here work in the restaurant industry.
It's because many in the restaurant industry buy their meat and fresh produce from Xinfadi market. I think this is why. We need to reassure customers.
Beijing's Xinfadi wholesale market is reportedly the source of the latest outbreak. It supplies 80% of the capital's food. Dozens of people have been infected, and more than 29 neighborhoods are under lockdown. Now authorities say the new cluster is under control.
The city detected the epidemic, locked the source, and took measures at the earliest time after the outbreak. They managed to cut off further transmission and kept the outbreak within a minimum range.
Chinese scientists have published the genome for the virus strain, saying it came from outside the capital. More than 700,000 people have been tested since the latest outbreak was discovered more than a week ago.
Beijing authorities are using mobile phone data to help track and contain the virus. Residents who pass through high-risk areas recently received this message. It says, according to big data analysis, you may have passed through Xinfadi wholesale market recently. We urge you to stay home and report to authorities. Those who do not will be held legally responsible.
But new infections continue to rise in the capital. Hundreds of flights were cancelled after Beijing raised its alert level on Wednesday. Travel restrictions and social distancing measures have been reinstated, raising questions about the government's transparency.
The outbreak in Wuhan had disastrous consequences, and now, just after a few days, the Beijing authorities say this outbreak is under control. Do you think this can be trusted?
In the early days, there was some cover-up of infection numbers and situation in Wuhan, but I don't think this will happen in Beijing. In Wuhan, we didn't know about the virus and how to deal with it.
Authorities say the new cases are not severe, but despite reassurances that the